I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. Yeah, I'm a cosplayer. You know what I mean. And I do my little turn on the con floor. Yeah, on the con floor. Oh, on the con floor. Yeah, I do my little turn on the con floor. And I'm too sexy for my cosplay. I'm too sexy for my cosplay. On Cosplay Cafe. And I'm too sexy for this song. Welcome to the Cosplay Cafe, where we're serving up a hot steaming cup of cosplay twice a month. Tonight's episode, we are talking about closet cosplay. So raid your closet, find some cool clothes, throw them together, and embody a character. We're also celebrating one of our co-hosts because she has been cosplaying for 10 years, which I will get into that more after this ad. Pokeballs by Crayle is your one-stop shop for handmade magical creations that celebrate all the Pokemon universe has to offer. Available on CrayleVanest.com. That's CrayleVanest.com, and possibly coming to a con near you. So, we're celebrating Crayle tonight, but first I'm going to bring my lovely co-barista in, Andrea. So we have Andrea Starnes in the house. Hey, Andrea, how you doing tonight?
Making it. making it. I've got 2 cats in my lap right now, so I'm not moving.
That's heaven. I'm so jealous.
I mean, I've got if he wakes up enough, I'll introduce the viewers to the new kitten. They've met the other 3, but now we have Odin to go with the other gods.
Oh, I love it.
Little one-eyed kitten rescue, so he's chilling here for his first episode.
And before we bring Crayle in, let's say some nice things about her. So Crayle has been cosplaying for 10 years. She is my hetero life mate. She is amazing. She started out doing closet cosplay, and she has come so far as a cosplayer. She is now writing a monthly feature for Comics Illustrated about cosplay. With me, I chip in too. We're writing over there as the Phoenix Sisters. She's co-hosting a podcast about cosplay, and she's awesome. What do you think about Crayle?
I mean, you covered it all. We're gonna just put it all into she is awesome. We're gonna let her
Basically.
pictures and her. We're gonna let Crayle talk for herself, but she knows what we already think about her, and hopefully our viewers feel the same.
Yeah, well, and I will say Crayle embodies every character that she cosplays. She's really good at just slipping into the character and bringing her own spin to it, and I adore her. So, welcome, Crayle.
Hi, you guys are making me blush. I was just in the green room like,
Haven't we always told every guest that comes on, we're going to inflate your ego before the end of it? So you should have known that was coming.
I did, but then it happens, and I'm just like,
we all feel that way. Whenever somebody compliments us, we're like, not. No.
Like, compliments feel like taking a dodgeball to the head. It's like you knew it was a possibility, but then it happens, and you just have that moment.
So we hit people with dodgeballs of compliments. That's what we do.
That's our new tagline.
I mean,
throw it up to sexy for cosplay.
Amazing. Hermes always thinks you're amazing.
Hermes wants to come home in my suitcase.
Here, and Odin says, "Happy 10 years,
Odin. I love you.
Say hi, buddy."
I would take Hermes home in my suitcase, but my husband might divorce me.
The dogs are trying to say hi as well, but they can't get to the camera. So,
right. Well, hi, doggies.
Yeah, you know, my house is a zoo, and y'all have been here. They've curled into Crayle's cosplay. So they said you're going to take some of us with you to the con.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm appeasing them
Yeah.
now. We're good.
So, Crayle, why don't we start by talking about how you got into cosplay? I know you've told the story before on the podcast, but for any viewers joining us for the first time, let's talk about it.
So I have these friends, Mark and Ruby. They're t-shirt cosplay together. Mark was my manager at a food court that I worked at, and then while I was out of work for the summer, I like babysat his daughter. She was older. She's a teenager. She didn't need like a babysitter, but their hours were crazy, and they were like, we don't want her just sitting home watching YouTube videos all day. So they literally paid me to like take their kids to amusement parks and movies and like drive her friends places, you know. So we had gotten close, and they kept constantly lecturing me about what a workaholic I am. Like I have always been a little bit like that. I had 3 jobs. I worked on political campaigns, and I did single issue like grassroots volunteering, and then did other volunteer work in college. And they were like, you need a hobby that's fun, or you're going to kill yourself. Like you're going to make yourself sick or hurt yourself. Like you need to do something fun. And so I finally let them take me to a convention, but I was like, I'm not going to cosplay. I'm really glad it makes some people happy, but I'm self-conscious. I would feel weird. I don't have time and energy to get into all that. And we went at Comic-Con in Kansas City 10 years ago. And so that would have been 2014. And the Friday of the con, because we were going to be there all 3 days, that I was like, cosplayers are having so much fun. What's wrong with me? Why am I not fully participating? So that night we went to Walmart. I had already packed my Star Labs t-shirt because I was really big into Arrow and like the DC Arrowverse at the time. That was like one of the things that actually was my relaxation, was I would go over to Mark and Ruby's every week and watch the next episode of Arrow, and then The Flash when The Flash started coming out, right? And so I always had professional wear with me because I don't know, it was this whole thing I was doing where I never knew when I was going to need to work. It was dumb. So at Walmart, we got me a pair of fake eyeglasses, put it together with a pencil skirt, and I was Felicity Smoke in the episode where they introduced Barry Allen, and he carries Felicity in his arms and goes super speed, and it catches her shirt on fire, so they have to give her a Star Labs t-shirt. And I was like, okay, this is kind of niche, but whatever. Like I'm technically cosplaying, right? And all the Green Arrow and Flash cosplayers were recognizing me. They're like, hey, you're doing that super specific scene. And I was just like, yeah. And then I met Stephen Amell that weekend. I got my picture taken with him. I made him hold up my stuffed unicorn. Stephen Amell has been famous before for honoring some strange and goofy photo requests. So I put a little cape on my unicorn Albert and made him hold it. I don't have a picture of that picture on this computer, unfortunately. But yeah, that was how I got started. And by then, so that was in March. And then by June of that year, I had gotten so into it that Mark was like, okay, you need to read this comic because I know you're going to love cosplaying this character. He got me started on Justice Society of America. And by June, I was in a panel for Silver Age comic book characters as Liberty Bell from the Justice Society of America, because when I commit, I commit. And here we are a decade later.
That's
You
that
don't do
ADHD
anything halfway.
hyperfixation.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
we're all good at hyperfixating on things.
Blessing and curse.
Yeah. David McDonald says, most badass preview yet. Yeah, Kelly, David really liked the preview image you did where it looked like the lightning was coming out of the barrel of our AK.
Thank you. I was pretty proud of that.
I have it with me. It's got like sort of camo spray paint on it now. Compared to when it was taken.
The Canva template just lined up perfectly, so I can't even take credit, but I was like, yes. You guys are going to have to save that.
Yeah.
Oh, Derek.
Hey, Derek.
Yeah. So Lord of Spice, aka Derek, says, what's up, ladies? I'm playing the Elden Ring DLC. I'm listening, but my focus is in the Shadow Realm. Well, yeah, forget you too, Derek. We won't focus on you either.
No, we still love Derek.
No,
Me
we did. Derek is like one of our biggest fans. We love Derek.
Oh,
Derek
God.
loves us.
He supports all of us so much. Like, he is just always there, liking the shows, watching, commenting. We love him for it. If
Yes,
we
we
had
do.
like stuff for super fans, Derek, you'd probably have the first.
Well, he gets Patreon perks.
True.
Yeah.
If I did one of those, but I haven't.
You don't have
done
time,
one of those.
girl. Like you do way more live events than like Kelly and I combined. You don't have time to manage the
And a
digital
40
stuff,
to 50 hour work week, family events, pets.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be awesome to do one, but maybe someday.
If you all want to see Andrea feature on our Patreon, though, send us messages and maybe send us a little tip here and there, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah, because at least one person has to fly at that point, but we'll do it.
I'm telling you, I'm also really horrible about a lot of people like to use their Patreon for exclusives, and I'm like, I can't hide this from other people. I'm so bad about that. Like, I can't even do a secret cosplay. I'm like, I don't want people to know this. And next thing, I'm posting like progress pictures.
Well, with ours, unless it's the PG-13 boudoir stuff, you get to post it a month later, at least.
Yeah. I want to.
It is
I'm
sometimes
that
so
moment.
hard to hold the photos back.
I'm such an in the moment person because of how my brain functions that I'm like, oh wait, that wasn't supposed to be shown yet.
We had that happen with a photographer where he posted the whole shoot once. Because just wires got crossed. It happens. It also was.
It wasn't malicious.
No, it wasn't. And it was an unpaid shoot because this was back when we were going to Metropolis a lot, and a lot of the photographers down there just don't charge for shoots. So it wasn't malicious. It was fine. We just, changed our plans for whatever month we had earmarked. It happens.
It's okay.
Yeah. Speaking of the Patreon, though, I liked the promo image I made this time. In July, right now, there are some super hot photos of Kelly up as Poison Ivy that you'll get to see, the public ones, when they go on Facebook in July. But you get to see everything and anything that was PG-13 or whatever when you join. And the starting tier is $1 a month. And there are other perks as it goes up, but you get to see all there is to see at that introductory $1. So, because we also don't want to hide our photos. We're like...
And your Harley has some, as seen from the blurred out, has some racy shots that are not ever being released to the public.
No.
They're hot. They're hot, y'all.
Yeah, no, my husband was my photographer. He almost always is for our PG-13 stuff. And I was telling him about how I had been kind of made fun of for my PG-13 standard being a couple decades in the past. And he was like, here, just... started lifting clothes up, scooting stuff around. I was like, okay, all right. We had to take a break at one point because I was blushing too hard.
He sent me a message. He's like, yeah, Crayle needs to stop blushing after the last PG-13 shot I had her take. I was like, good work, David. Thanks for keeping me updated. So, Crayle, the question I like to ask, what's in your toolbox that you have to have in your cosplay craft toolbox?
Well, my new one is foam clay, which Kelly actually just recently wrote an entire article. If you go to the Sew and Slay section of Comics Illustrated on using foam clay and how that's like the new cosplayer's best friend, right? Because it stays lightweight and still a teeny bit flexible. You're not going to like break it just by like putting it in a bag usually or whatever, but you can shape it, but then you can still sand it, cut it, paint it, whatever after it's cured. And it's not very expensive. So I've been working on a Necromonger original character that I want to compete with. And so I've been building a spine. If you've ever watched the Chronicles of Riddick, almost everybody has some sort of spine detail, from like the nobles who are wearing like the dresses and stuff to soldiers. And so I'm building a spine, and it needed to be somewhat flexible because I can't cure it on the curvature of my back. And it couldn't be heavy because I'm just going to pin it to my shirt, and bones, trying to keep it looking kind of organic, but like also that sci-fi look or whatever. I'm not a master sculptor. So the fact that after it's cured, I can go back and just kind of like sand or like straight up cut pieces off. Big time help. Huge help. Huge help. And I'm making barnacles for our mermaid photo shoot for later this month that I'm going to spirit gum onto like my face and collarbone. I get like foam clay, where I'm just putting like a foam ball in the middle of it, like a styrofoam ball, so just to take up a little more room in there. And yeah, I've been using a lot of foam clay lately.
I go through it like crazy. That stuff, like, where's it been all my cosplayer's life? It literally just came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I
saw
lived without it.
Yeah, when it first came out, I saw it, and I've got some I've used, but I'm usually tagging other people to do prop work and everything for me. But
Smart.
it's pretty cool stuff to use. I mean, like you said, it can be sculpted, shaped, sanded, cut, flexible still. It's pretty cool stuff.
Well, there have been so many times when I've had a sheet. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say, so you finish anyway.
Oh, there have been so many times I've had a sheet of EVA foam and I've been working with it. I've been like, I just want to sculpt it into the shape I want. And now I can. It's just the best.
Oh, now I remember what I was going to say, was it also glues stuff together? So like if you need like an extra hold of like extra like mechanical physical hold, you wrap the foam clay around it and then you just paint or sand it to match the textures of whatever you stuck together. It's like
crazy useful. We are not being paid to sponsor foam clay, but we should be.
I mean, if they want to.
Yeah, if you're a company that manufactures foam clay, send us some and we'll open it up and we'll show all the stuff we built out of it.
Yeah, we will. We'll build some cool stuff. We're already building cool stuff. Might as well promote your product.
Right. Thomas Guentner says, it's okay, Lord of Spice, I'm gaming while listening to. And that's Kelly's husband. So if he can get away with gaming and listening, I'm sure you can.
I think that's fair.
And our friend Mark Desjardins says, bonjour, glad I could stay awake to catch this finally. Happy 10 years, Crayle. See ya at Gen Con. I'm not attending Gen Con for budget and tiredness reasons because I work so many conventions, but I am making sure to meet up with Mark because he's a lovely human. And I mean, he's going to be in my neck of the woods. So
I'm so glad we connected with him a year ago, and he's become such a good friend of the show and us.
He's just the best human. Mark, we love you. We really do.
I mean, look, he was on the show twice within a couple of months. We loved him that much.
Yeah. Yeah. So Crayle, what is, gosh, this is a big question. What are some of your favorite memories in costume?
Well, since I started in kind of more obscure and adult-based stuff, I was cosplaying for probably a full 3 years before I went to a convention as Supergirl and a little girl ran up and hugged me because she recognized me and like had to hug me right that moment. I was like, oh, this is what cosplayers who do like Disney princesses and stuff are talking about. We're the kids. Oh, so this like really stuck out to me. It's happened a bunch since then because my repertoire just includes so much stuff now. But I mean, I was mostly doing like old or niche stuff for a while, or I was doing sidekicks where the kids didn't recognize me for a long time. And so it took me a few years before a little girl just ran up and like could not contain herself and like had to come hug me, which was really cool.
I was there with you when that happened too.
You were, yeah. Oh my gosh.
You feel like that Grinch moment, your heart grew 3 sizes that day. Every time that happens. That happened when I was leaving my volunteer thing today. Like we were all saying goodbye, and then this one little girl just makes a beeline for me to give me a hug. And I was dressed as Captain Marvel, and I haven't worn that costume in almost a year or more. And so I was like, oh my goodness, this little girl is so happy. Hi Odin. Hi Odin.
I also have a lot of favorite memories during the actual crafting and builds of stuff where it's the kind of things that only happen between you and another cosplayer, right? Where like for my Phoenix suit, we had to sew the legs, like the yellow spandex over the red spandex on my leg. And so I get to joke about how my friend Ruby stabbed me a bunch, or she made a Warbler over foam W breastplate for my Wonder Girl costume and had to like hold it in place while it was being heated up. And so now we have all kinds of mildly dirty jokes that are just all cosplay related, you know, where you just get up in each other's personal space and have things going on that just sound weird when you work on things together. A lot of like undressing in each other's living rooms because you can't run to the bathroom every single time, where you get really casual with some of the people that you craft with.
A little bit, yeah. And with their husbands sometimes.
I wasn't sure if I should mention that.
Oh my gosh.
Kelly and I have both accidentally taken our clothes off in front of, not like all the way, but been like, oh wait, what are we doing in front of each other's husbands during crafting or photo shooting? So
in my case, it was just after a really long day at a con and I was overheated and I was not thinking. And we were sharing a hotel room, the three of us. And the funniest thing is, as I was doing this, I was telling the story about how a person at the con had said something to me about how she, like, I mentioned that he was Crayle's husband, and she was like, "Oh, I thought y'all were a throuple." And as I'm doing this, as I'm undressing in the room in front of Crayle and her husband, all of a sudden I look down, I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm almost naked." And David, Crayle's husband, had noticed that I was doing this, and he just like turned away because, you know, he's a good dude.
Well, like, I mean, you didn't want to make yourself conscious, but like,
he was like, life of a cosplay husband.
I had been in Morticia all day in like a mall. It was a mall con. It was like 90 degrees in there and humid.
Oh.
And it had been like a 12-hour day. I was miserable. So as soon as I got back to the hotel room, I was just like, nope, this is coming off. I don't care who's around, but.
Well, yeah. And to be fair, I had taken my clothes off right there because it was just you and my husband. So I didn't care. So, you know, the social signaling that happens sometimes, you're just like, okay, we're taking our clothes off now.
They said he's probably just like, you know what? This is my life. I'm just gonna go over there for a minute.
So look at the ceiling now.
It's like just go put your nose in a corner for a minute. Everything will be okay.
But after I realized, I was like, quick, put his shirt on. I'm so sorry, David. I'm like, what was I thinking? And he's like, yeah, I saw you doing it. I just turned away. And for you, Crayle, I was like, I think I was sewing something for you or something. And then all of a sudden you just had to like strip for some reason. You were like, I'm sorry, Thomas.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing. He like saw what was coming and looked away. Our husbands are, they're good dudes. Yeah.
I think the weirdest one I made like the body double for my friend Dwayne to make my Thor armor. And do you know how weird it is to go, here, bestie, that's a guy, here is my boobs, basically, for you to form. I'm like, I had to make the duct tape form so he could build it. I'm just like, here you go.
I don't want to know what you do with them after you're done.
I just kept getting update pictures with it actually, you know, on the form. I'm like, Dwayne's a good dude as well. So.
Yep. I have a lot of those.
David says, I'm very good at ignoring my surroundings when I need to. LOL. And Colleen Gilroy says, wonderful show. And hi, Odin, hugs. Thank you, Colleen. You're so nice.
We love Colleen.
We do love Colleen.
I'm actually wearing socks that Colleen gave me at the last con we were at. They've got their little kitty cat pride socks. They're adorable. If I could flex to show them, I would. But I am 41 years old and not as flexible, and I have a kitten in my lap. So.
Yeah, happy Pride Month, y'all.
To all of our friends that both celebrate and are allies of Pride.
And Derek, aka Lord of Spice, says, "I'm so focused on this boss. He's playing Elden Ring, right? He says that I'm catching the most scandalous sound bites. Well,
you're welcome, Derek.
You never know what's going to happen when you tune in.
It's the Phoenix Sisters in the Cosplay Cafe. I don't know what else you're expecting. We keep it real.
Basically.
Yeah, I mean, at least we're not getting the weird bots that we've gotten in the past.
Yeah. There are certain keywords that summon them that we will not say.
Yes. Yep. And Beth said a lot of them.
And then when she noticed the bots were coming, she just kept saying them.
She's just like, y'all just delete them. I'm just going to keep going.
I love Beth. I'm seeing her tomorrow. Along with Anthony. Ha. Yes, I'm rubbing it in.
I'm hanging out tomorrow and helping sew a Cinderella dress. So
also sounds fun.
Yes.
Also sounds
very excited about making this one. And I'm watching my dog drag all of her toys out that I'm going to have to put up because they're going to be everywhere.
Like they do.
She doesn't play with them. She just takes them all out.
So we're midway through the episode. Are we, Andrea, I know you're not getting up. You're not disturbing the kitties. Are we getting up and showing off our costumes, or are we just skipping that?
I have a photo of mine in the brand tab. So
let's do that.
When I said I was gonna wear this today, Hunter just goes, "Are you gonna do the Tina dance?" And I'm like, no. But I figured Crayle's been loving Bob's Burgers, so I should dress as a character that she is enjoying so much for her anniversary episode. There you are.
This is one of those. This is one of those photo shoots that came out of like literally everything I already had. I was feeling healthy and good, and the weather was nice, and we were like, we're kind of getting close to our Patreon deadline, and I think it was my husband's idea. He's like, I bet you have a Sarah Connor in your closet already. And sure enough, I did. So
I actually think it was my idea.
Oh, it was yours. Yeah, because you had recently bought
I don't want to take it from David. But also it was during COVID and we were trying to figure out photo shoots we could do at home, if I remember right. And I was like, we need to do Sarah Connor because you have the guns. And if you're going to do a photo shoot at home, you might as well incorporate your guns.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
it's a prop you don't want to just take walking around, but it works at home.
No. And for the record, so we use real guns in a lot of our photo shoots because I have some. Whenever we have a real gun at a photo shoot, always have a safety officer whose job it is. It's usually my husband or me if I'm not actively having photos taken. But we have somebody who knows how to handle them, who literally their only job is just be paying attention to like, where is the end pointed? Did everybody leave safeties on? Did everybody check everything every time they pick something up?
That's awesome.
Because when you're posing and stuff like that and trying to get camera angles and stuff, you need an extra person who's only focusing on, hey, are we doing like the gun safety thing?
Yeah.
Right.
Even if like you know your gun safety, if you're in that picture, your mind is not always on, is everything correct? Your mind is, let me get a cool shot. So
it's
good to have
even though the guns are unloaded, you treat them as though they're loaded. Number one.
Always.
Rule number one.
Right.
Always.
So we've worked some really cool, I wish I had put it in that. So we've worked some cool angle magic before where it looks like a gun is pointing at someone or something. But I guarantee you we did that movie magic layering thing where actually nothing is pointed at anybody. We're in a different depth of field. And then our photographer was able to take it right to where, so like we did the opening scene from the very beginning of Winona Earp when Winona comes back into town and
Let's see if I have.
Didn't tell anybody she was back in town, and Waverly almost shoots her. And so, we've got a photo of it where it looks like I probably just swang around, but it's the it's just angles. Like at no point was I ever on rotation to point just a tiny little rifle at Kelly. So
I'm uploading that now.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that one was taken in a studio with a photographer that we made sure the photographer was okay with it. And David was our safety officer. So we had extra eyes. And okay, so there's the first. Hang on, let me make sure. Yeah, this is a whole sequence, but also, how cute does Crayle look in this outfit?
Oh my gosh, I did really like my shorties outfit. Mark and Ruby have shown this to the actors over time, and like Dom specifically was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so great! Where did she find the shorty shirt?" And I'm like, "I made it. I crop topped and cut the seams out of a baseball tee and did iron-on lettering." So,
okay, so there's the movie magic shot. Like, that's
nice.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. We've done a lot of stuff that just like requires a closed set sometimes.
Yeah.
So and we've been fortunate enough to be able to do a closed set. So, and there's the final. So, yeah, those were fun. And again, those guns were very beautiful. They were definitely the stars of the shoot.
One of my dad's friends who has it's almost like a traveling gun store. I don't feel like explaining the whole thing, but like who had a lot of like Western classics, loaned us a bunch to do that photo shoot and was so excited to see the pictures and that we use them for that. Like, I mean, there are a lot of people who are super into guns as a hobby, like competitive shooting as a hobby, who are also into cosplay.
Yeah, my brother-in-law's big into guns. He's not a big into cosplay, but he got a whole brand new gun safe for Father's Day, and they put it into the wall behind his recliner. He's had one in the past, but he got a brand new one for Father's Day.
Ooh.
Yeah, and there's pockets in the door for the handguns, and Misty was like, "Yeah, Jim needs more handguns to go in the pockets." Whoa, the dog just hit my table. And I said, "Well, I'm going to buy him a bunch of water guns." She said, "That's perfect, and he can play with our nephew Oliver." Because Oliver likes water guns. So I'm like, I'm going to give Jim a couple of water guns to put in there. Okay, why'd y'all just wake up, dogs? Really? Like literally
and I gotta say, even if you're working with a fake gun, if you want to add a little more realism, use that trigger discipline, because that will look more realistic to your character. I've learned a lot about gun safety from Crayle. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Crayle.
Oh, it's also just entirely more considerate. Like if you're coming across people or whatever who see you handling what even looks like a firearm, you don't want to be pointing them at people or swinging them around or whatever. So
it's like I walked into after a volunteer event. I was in my Jen Urso costume, with my gun holster on, and it's a freaking Star Wars blaster. It doesn't look totally like a real gun, but people are looking around at me. I'm like, it's 3D printed. It's not a real gun, but I'm like, it didn't come out of the holster because I didn't want people like freaking out or anything. I'm like, it's just a courtesy. They see somebody that looks like they've got what might be a weapon. Just be aware of your surroundings.
A lot of Star Wars blasters and handheld weapons are modeled off of real guns too. So it's one of those things to always be considerate about.
Once you take the whole thing out of like the holster and they look at it, they're like, oh, it's definitely not a real one. But you just see that grip coming out of a hip holster. It looks a little suspicious.
So why don't we go through
the cosplay gun safety special was use your four basic rules, Don't point it at anything. PSA. Assume it's loaded. Know your target and what's behind it, That's 3. Did I combine 2? Some people say it's 3. And some people say it's 4, and one of them is like point A and point B. Oh gosh. Don't point it at anything you don't want to shoot. Assume every gun is loaded. Know your keep your trigger your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. It's the 4th one. Yeah.
Trigger discipline.
There's our gun safety PSA for you. Real or fake.
And again, doing that is for safety, and it does add realism to your character, because if your character is a character who handles guns, they're going to be following the gun safety.
Supernatural fans who are into guns get really geeked out about it sometimes, or they're like, oh, they're doing the weapon thing the right way in a lot of points in various seasons. Kind of ebbs and flows a little bit, but yeah.
One of my favorite compliments was a compliment on my trigger discipline in one of my Black Widow photos. A guy was like, "That trigger discipline is sexy." I'm like, thank you for finding a choice I made and knowledge I have sexy instead of something
just the character.
Yeah. Like, I was super flattered. I was like, yes, thank you.
Very specific appreciation.
Yes. So let's go through your costumes, Crayle, and you can talk about them.
Yeah, so I tried to organize them mostly with the closet stuff first. So we'll see if I did that right when I picked ones.
Who knows? When they upload, these things upload however they feel like when we put them in.
Oh my gosh, for real.
It's true. Right. So this is my generic Pokemon trainer that's mostly based on Ash from like the anime. Already had this stuffed Pokemon, already had I think the only thing for this that came out of my cosplay closet instead of my like regular closet was the purple fingerless gloves. Like
it's still out of the closet though.
Yeah, I did a full photo shoot like this, including an action sequence where I snuck up through tall grass and threw a toy Pokeball at that Dragonair stuffed animal that we put like on a stool sticking up out of the grass so that it wasn't getting all dirty. Yeah, I like putting together, doing stuff. That's one of the benefits of doing a closet cosplay is since this stuff is a little less restricting and it was a little less expensive, or you've already gotten your use out of it that you wanted or whatever, you can do stuff like crawl around in the grass without worrying you're messing up your costume. You know, like I was kneeling up against our trash cans, like I was trying to look around them to sneak away or shoot something in my Sarah Connor, and it was just a gray undershirt, jeans, and a pair of my husband's old combat boots. Like, so I didn't mind if I accidentally touched something. I mean, I minded if I touched something gross on the edge of the trash can, but it's a different level than if I had been, you know, in like one of my more expensive or more customized costumes. Okay. So this is another one of those instances of when you do like a closet cosplay. So this was a super cheap black and white swimsuit that Kelly found for me at Walmart. It was like, I think this is in your size, and you wanted to do a Barbie homage. And I already had heels because I used to work in an office, and I already had some white sunglasses. I ended up buying new ones for this to get the cat eye shape because I wanted to go a little more specific. But one of the things, though, about when you do a closet cosplay is like playing around and adding all the effects and using their this Barbie is generator and stuff. Like, it hid a lot of the costume, but since I didn't slave away over the stitching or whatever, I really got to focus on playing around with poses and edits and stuff like that. It's another one of the benefits. I think it's really fun about closet cosplay because you would never see me covering up like 3/4 of the photo in silly effects if I had to sit down and sew anything.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I included this one, even though it doesn't show as much of the costume, because it's just one of those ways that closet cosplay lets me at least really focus on the story I'm trying to tell or the setup that I want without worrying about whether or not I'm really showing off the work that I did on a garment.
And that's a good point. Closet cosplay is really freeing because you're looking to emulate the look of the character without slavishly being screen accurate. Like that swimsuit had the feel of the black and white swimsuit, but it was not screen accurate, and that was fine. It was
It
cute.
still gave the impression. You still look at it and go, "That's Barbie."
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And just want to talk for a sec about like the ways to elevate if you're getting something straight out of your closet. Sorry, I'm taking over. But if you're getting something straight out of your closet and you're stressed out about it, make sure you do your makeup to match the character, do your hair to match the character. That like kind of takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
So, and
It's
with
the little
you do.
details. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
especially when it's a simpler costume, it's literally the devil is in the details. The
Yep.
little accessories and even just the posing can totally
Yep.
add to it.
This is one of my many cowgirl variants. This is also one of my many Harley Quinns. And that top just came from, I used to wear under blazers for work all the time. It's like a super silky, like wear it under a blazer type of like shirt or whatever. I already owned black shorts. I bought that belt and was thinking this might come in handy for like the cowgirl cosplays, maybe because it had the rhinestones on it, but really it was just in my budget and it was a size that fits me because my belt size needs to go out to like 48 to 52 inches sometimes. Like, I feel like sometimes it's hard to find structural belts that are meant to fit adult women.
Yes, it's so frustrating.
They're all for looks. They don't hold anything up.
Yep.
Right. We already had a lever action. This is my backyard. This is just what my backyard looks like, So even the setting was kind of homebrew, if we want to borrow a term from D&D there, where I feel like that's the closet cosplay equivalent of picking a photography setting, is if you can find something around your home. Like for this Sarah Connor, my husband used to have a Jeep that he'd had since high school, sat on the front of that. It was a Jeep from the 80s, and
Perfect.
looking out past the trash cans or whatever. They had trash cans in the 80s, and you had to use whatever you could for concealment when you're on the run in a sci-fi where robots are coming back in time to kill you. Like, so we already have a fire pit, and I was borrowing a friend's truck, so I took some photos in his truck too. But like, just use what you have, and you can still have like a lot of fun. Not everything has to be like drive an hour away to go to a scenic like bridge in Lake Michigan, whatever, like we've done for Lagatha, which we have photos later of my Lagatha. Like we do all of that. Like we go to like super scenic locations. We spend hours slaving over a prop or a garment or whatever, but you just don't always have to. I think that's really freeing.
Yes, agreed.
This was another one of those. We had a dusting of snow, and we hadn't had very many wintry photo shoots that year. So I was like, "Oh, gotta go to the closet and see what I've got." And so I put a red tank top and a belt on over a black dress to look like one of the Misa Amane outfits from Death Note, and it's a little less recognizable because it's not like the lace like goth Lolita style stuff that Misa does in a lot of the promo posters. But if you just watch the anime, like because she was a model, she had a lot of different looks, and
She
so I
had
found
so many costume changes in that series.
Yeah, so I found one that I had because I was just like, well, I could always do my hair in little pigtails. I've got a black leather jacket because I wanted something that had a jacket because it snowed, right? I was like, black leather jacket. Let's check. Oh, let's look through Misa outfits. And there we were. So, and again, like it's a closet cosplay. So I feel like what I was really communicating here was a lot of the pose where she's got that confidence. She looks very youthful. And I feel like the way we angled things, I did look a little younger in a lot of these photos. Like, not that I'm ever going to look like a teenager again, but like portraying something that was a little coy and youthful or whatever, like she does on her photo shoots before you see how insane she is everywhere else. And I sat my butt on the snow. It was a plain cotton dress. I didn't have to worry about messing up something that I had sewn for 42 hours by sitting my butt in wet snow. So
Yeah, you can just throw that in the washing machine and go.
yeah.
Exactly.
We love machine washable costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And so this is the same jacket that I was just wearing for Misa, which is another one of those things you can do when you just pull stuff out of your closet, is a lot of that stuff is reusable. Oh, and that's my Sarah Connor tank top.
I was gonna say, you know what? Gray
Jean,
tank
love it.
tops and black leather jackets work really hard. Okay.
They do. They
They
really
are so
do.
versatile.
Yeah, that's my Jessica Jones, and it was all about I had the right prop at a cider there, and the right facial expression. Like sometimes that's all it takes. And
For her, you just need an RBF. That's all you need.
yeah,
Perfect.
Some attitude and an angry face.
yeah.
Your Jessica Jones is so good too. Like we need to revisit that and do a full shoot, maybe.
Okay, I have a friend that does a Jessica Jones, and since I apparently want to continue cosplaying all of the characters David Tennant has ever played as a short woman, I kind of want to do his version of Kilgrave now with
You
Jessica
should.
Jones. I don't know why I want to be David
sometime.
Tennant. I want to be David Tennant so bad.
Who
'Cause I'm working
doesn't
on
want
my
to be
10th
David Tennant? He's amazing.
I do Crowley, and now I'm working on my 10th Doctor. I'm like, I just want to be David Tennant, I think. My little short tail wants to be that very tall, lanky man. But I'll put together a Kilgrave, and you could be Jessica Jones again, and we'll do some very messed up pictures, maybe, because he was not okay.
No,
No.
he was not okay.
He plays a good bad guy, though. David Tennant plays
Yes.
a great bad guy.
He really does.
Yeah, he does.
We'll have to revisit all of that, and I'll have to get a Kilgrave costume going.
Maybe I'll be Trish.
Ooh, you get to be the blonde character for once.
I was gonna say.
Other than Black Canary,
You're wearing a
you
wig,
don't do a lot of blondes.
I do not. I have lots of blonde wigs because of Canary, so just went out.
We
I have done
might have
Mockingbird,
something
though.
for this might be something for the next time we're all together.
Maybe. I feel like you don't get to do as many blonde characters, partially because if there's an excuse for me to not wear a wig and there's only one blonde in the group, I tend to call dibs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I also have not been wanting to wear a wig lately since my hair is like mermaid blonde.
Yeah. This is my Buttercup from not Buttercup. Buttercup's green. It's Blossom. Sorry, it's Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup. So this is Blossom. This is a pink t-shirt material dress that I already had. I put a flexible belt around it to make the belt whatever, put on black flats, and it's blending into the red of my wig a lot, but my Sailor Venus bow is in the background there. And so this is another one of those things where if you can closet cosplay an animated character, because I'm never going to have little nubs for hands and a cylindrical body with a big bobble head, okay? So that's when you really get into the poses. So I'm doing it looked better from the side because again I'm a three-dimensional human woman. Yeah. But one of the things I did was whenever they all come up with the rainbow behind them at the end of the credits, they each have a signature pose. So this is just the profile view of Blossom's pose with the fist and one knee up. So it's one of the things that helps you make a cosplay recognizable is if a character has a signature pose, do the signature pose. Anime characters almost always have a signature pose. You can just Google character pose and so make sure you're taking advantage of that whenever you're trying to figure out what you want to do in your photo shoots.
Oh, especially if people want to stop you at a con and ask for a picture, you have something to drop into instead of going,
yeah.
I'm awkward. I don't know how to pose.
This is another cowgirl variation that I got. This was not fully a closet cosplay at all, even though I do already have like every color of cheapo cowboy hat and every color of cowboy boot. That's just part of what I wear. But I don't run around in tasseled leotards with
that's not part of your everyday wear.
superhero emblems on them just anywhere. Not
You
usually.
don't go to the grocery store looking like that?
I wouldn't
That
be
is how
embarrassed
cowgirls
to. I just
dress,
didn't have a
but-
reason.
Yeah, it's definitely not a true cowgirl look, for sure.
When you blend together a superhero, so it's the superhero spandex aspect.
Yes.
Spandex aspect, but you add the hat and the fringe, and now now you're a cowgirl.
It's the rhinestone cowgirl version. It's not
It's
the
a
working
look,
out on
though.
the barn cowgirl.
No, this was like, I thought I was on my way to like a horse show or a rodeo or something as part of the pre-show entertainment, and then stopped by the saloon. Like
I like that concept. You never made it to the show. You probably never left the saloon.
No, that's grown up juice. We had a whole little mini comic where you weren't allowed in the saloon because you're not allowed to drink grown up juice yet, Speedy.
Wild Wild West, my butt. This is one of my all-time favorite cosplay photos ever. My husband took this photo of me in our basement, and you can't even see the whole costume, but the hand placement for a contemplative Emma Frost, just luxuriating, just in the moment, just in her own head, while wearing her fur trimmed cape, and halfway through Diamond transformation. I felt like I really captured the character, and I just look really hot.
It's a gorgeous picture.
Yeah, you do.
So, I mean, that's corsets. They're uncomfortable sometimes, but we wear them for a reason. This is before Andrea made me a more comfortable one. So,
yeah, that one's flexible and it laces in the front and the back, so you have lots of freedom in it.
Yeah, this is the one I had to go. My corset that I had broke and was cheap, like even cheaper before this, and so I ended up having to go to one of those like Love's like intimate type of stores at the last minute because I was running out of time, and I had a migraine, so I couldn't drive. So my sister had to drive me to one of those stores, right?
An adult store.
Adult store. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
You're like, it's for a costume, and people are like, sure, it's for a costume.
Right. So I was just walking.
They're like, well, yes, it is for a costume.
Laser focus.
They were thinking.
Like, is there anything I can help you with? And I'm like, I need your most modest white corset you've got.
Which are not the words you usually hear for Emma Frost, but
no, but compared to ones that had completely cut out like patches or whatever, like all it's all about context and where you're at. And for an adult store, any solid corset can seem kind of comparatively modest. Also, my Emma Frosts sometimes do skew a little more modest. Like, I'm okay doing like PG-13 photo shoots and stuff like that on a closed set, but I wear my Emma Frost to conventions. So I've done modifications a lot where I have like short shorts instead of, because some of her versions are just like underwear.
Yeah.
Under a cape. Okay.
Have shorts and pants and stuff to them. So
yeah.
Well, that's because Greg Land draws her a lot.
Yeah. Oh, you guys, when I tell you, it was so hard. It was so hard to narrow down to just one Lagatha photo. This is like one of my favorite costumes ever. Kelly took an athletic shirt. I had worked on a bunch of sewing stuff out of a bunch of pieces of things over the years, and then I didn't fit in them anymore because I had a medication change that made me like gain a ton of weight back after I lost a bunch of weight for also not great health reasons. And so the stuff I had been working on for years didn't fit me anymore. I had a meltdown, and Kelly was like, yoink, I'm taking over this now.
I feel that.
I saw the pieces she was working with, and I was like, I don't know how you're going to get that to look like that, but I trust you. And it's so beautiful. And then David and I made that shield together. So to battle damage that shield, David really did hold it up, and I just took a hatchet to it. It was just like scraping it and beating it. Like,
that's awesome.
We have a video on our TikTok of part of the process. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's I'm pretty sure it's over 8 pounds. I don't remember how much it weighs, but it's heavy. It's real wood. It's heavy. The boss in the middle of it is a mixing bowl that we dented and then threw in the fire to get some of that aged metal look. Like, we made a fire in my backyard and just buried it in the coals for hours. The outer ridge, though, is that baby-proof the edge of your furniture. Like, you can buy a roll of foam that doesn't look like styrofoamy or anything that went around the edge. The traditional Viking way to do that is to bend iron around it, and we didn't want to add the weight, and we didn't want to take that much longer because that shield was like a year in the making. And
how many years was the costume in the making? Like 5?
4. It was 4 years, and it's in 5 now because I still don't have the chainmail on the shoulders and waist that goes with this exact outfit. But once I've got that done, it'll be that. This was like my dream costume for years. So
this is our this is our magnum opus. Like you, me, and David. This is our labor of love.
We all have that
and
one.
Oh gosh. And we went to this beautiful location. It's actually only like 30, 40 minutes from my house, and it is gorgeous. Just gorgeous place along, like you said, Lake Michigan, and got the most beautiful photos. I took them.
Yeah.
And I'm not a photographer, but I did pretty good, if I do say so.
You did great. Okay, this photo shoot should have belonged in those like moments between cosplayers, whatever favorite cosplay memories is. Like, we basically just went on a super leisurely hike while I wore a costume that I loved on a day that the weather was beautiful, and took photos together. Like, we were just mostly spending quality time in between poses, and it was a beautiful day. We miraculously didn't overextend ourselves because we were almost going to try to get Kelly to do a photo shoot too. And then she would have been we would have had them both, and then she would have been in a costume to where she couldn't didn't want to climb around to get an angle or whatever. Like, we actually kept ourselves to one photo shoot and just had a really great time.
Great. I'm happy took this one.
Yeah, so that is my Sailor Venus, and this is one of those things too where I'm like, sometimes you just need the right pose, and there are tons of poses for Sailor Venus because the Sailor Scouts have 10 signature poses a piece. And Sailor Venus is one of the characters that I relate to on a really deep personal level. So Minako has old survivor's guilt, and she has a lot of oldest sibling style baggage. Like, the girls are all the same age, but she got her memories back sooner, and that made her force grow up, remember her past life sooner. And so she tries to make a lot of decisions that maybe weren't necessarily even hers to make, but she tried anyway to take more on herself to protect people. And I have a lot of that oldest sibling stuff where sometimes you're doing things that it's not even your job. Nobody said you had to do that when you're a big sibling, but you try anyway. And as the show continues, no matter which version of it you've watched, the 90s one or Sailor Moon Crystal or whatever, over time, she does let herself rely on her teammates and her friends more. And you start seeing more of her wanting to be a pop star, wanting to do normal teenager stuff. She lets go a little bit and remembers that she's a whole person on her own. And so that was another one of my dream costumes I wanted to do, to the point that I finally ended up buying it because I was just, I can make some stuff, but I'm slow. And why deny myself the experience of getting to go act as the character if it's important to me, if a costume is giving me a lot of trouble? So I purchased one.
No shame in that.
It was really hard to pick only one photo from this one too. We waited and waited and waited for it to snow because my husband and I wanted to do Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And I ended up picking this one because I liked the attention that Lacey Clagg, our photographer, did to recreating a bunch of stuff from the scene. So whenever they finally decided it's too cold, she's like, oh, hey, there's a door over there. And she put a door in it. She just did several really subtle edits for us, and this was one of the ones I liked the best because of that moment in the movie. She also did a whole second set for us where she blue filtered it and made it look like it was nighttime because night falls early on in the date. for this. We had a lot of really good photos of David as Scott Pilgrim. I guess he just does dorky, not sure what to do on a date poses really well. And yeah, it was like the end of March when we finally got enough snow on a day that we weren't both really sick or already committed. The photographer and my husband being off work and me not being sick. Like, so we almost didn't get this photo shoot in.
And we love working with Lacey Clegg. Like, she's amazing. So
yeah, she did my wedding.
Yes.
This is my Mara Jade. I also borrowed Thomas's purple lightsaber for this photo shoot, but the pose for this one I really like, where I'm just like angry and trying to aim and getting really aggressive, because I feel like that's very, very Mara Jade. And I was doing like pre-married to Luke Mara Jade, where she's rougher around the edges. So this was a fan request. Derek actually requested this one. Our bigger patrons have gotten some like entirely fan requested either photos of characters we already have in the poses, or recreating a panel or a cover that they want, or just the costume entirely. So he had been wanting me to do somebody from Star Wars. And I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to read the Thrawn trilogy. Maybe I should do Mara Jade. And he was like, that's one of the Star Wars characters I wanted you to do. So
everyone loves Mara Jade except for George Lucas.
Yeah.
You know, nobody backs out.
We're not going to talk about that. Oh, this is a good one. Mark Schaefer Photography did this one.
This was my first ever Black Canary. And those are Kelly's clothes. That's all Kelly's clothes.
Except for the boots.
We hadn't been friends for very long. And my friends Mark and Ruby were going to be there. And Kelly just had a massive tote. She was doing a bunch of different generations and versions of Birds of Prey all in one day. And she just had a massive tote. And she pulled out a leotard and held it up to me and was like, this will fit you. Go change. So the boots are the only thing of mine in this entire outfit. I don't even have my own hair tie in my hair.
Oh, you raided someone else's closet for this one.
Yeah. So, but this was my first Black Canary, and it started an obsession. I already loved Birds of Prey, like one of the Gail Simone runs that I had done, but this was really early in my comic and cosplay journey. And I didn't know that I was going to become like inseparable best friends with Kelly, but her enthusiasm definitely rubbed off on me.
I'm so proud.
Yeah, so. And this is one of my favorite Dark Phoenix shots. This is also Mark Schaefer that we took in Metropolis. One of the things I like about this is I'm able to put all kinds of absolutely unhinged quotes over top of it because of the staring in the mirror effect. So I've done a bunch of silly quotes on top of this where I'm like, there was a copy pasta going around for a while that was like, caught my own eye in the mirror as I uncorked a bottle of wine with my teeth and spit it across the room and realized every man I have ever been with has never deserved me, or whatever. I just put over this. So it's just like, yeah, Dark Phoenix Jean definitely is feeling herself like that. So.
That's hilarious. And so we are over time, but we have obviously our lovely viewer submissions that I want to go through. So let's run through these. We got some great ones.
These are from Steph. She sent me a lot more than this, and we're going to post all of them to our socials, and they won't be chopped up like this. But she had a lot of stuff to send, so.
Yeah, these are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Alex and Brendan. So this is their Matt and Electra.
Love it.
Oh,
yes.
My heart.
They look so good.
Right?
Like Alex is rocking that red dress hard. Like,
yeah,
she looks so good in that dress. I'm kind of jealous.
I love the she does a decent amount of cosplay, closet cosplays for like they went to a James Bond exhibit, and so they busted out this casual Matt and Electra and just rocking it.
Angel.
And Angel rocking
Like,
some awesome looks
I'm
here.
telling you, Angel is very much a closet cosplayer. She puts most of her stuff together from either things she already owns or she and Colleen are queen of goodwilling. Like, they can hit thrift shops and put
Yes.
together so many costumes.
That is a gift. Like, it really is.
I don't have the
And they
patience
look
to
so
dig
good.
through. I just go through, I'm like, I look real quick and I'm like, okay, cool. This is Nosy's cosplay, Claire and her husband doing Crowley and Aziraphale, which, of course, has my whole heart.
Yes.
I actually met Claire at Corinth earlier this year, and that whole headpiece that she made was the only non-closet cosplay part. She said
That's
both
so
of their costumes were
impressive.
fully just pieces that they found.
That's incredible. Like, they look
Yeah.
great too.
They look so good. Here's Colleen Honey Blossom cosplay.
Oh,
These are some of her
Oh,
most
so
recents
cute.
from Anime Blues just a couple of weeks ago.
I love it.
Kansas Killjoy. She sent this to us on our Instagram. She's doing Klaus from Umbrella Academy.
Oh, that's adorable. I love it. Very,
That show
very
is so
cute.
unhinged too, and I love it. I love Klaus. Hunter Chick doing her scientist Gwen Stacy. Fun fact: at anime or at Memphis Comic Expo, when she wore this, I was dressed as Crowley, so everybody thought she was a femme Aziraphale with me the whole time. Even though she literally
You
had
know
a
what?
box. It works. But she had a box with her comics that she was getting signed, but it said school books. And people kept like she's like, I didn't mean for it to be that, but that's what it was. But everybody
That's
just
funny.
thought when we were walking around that she was just doing like a femme Aziraphale to my Crowley.
It works. She
Yeah.
looks great though. Everyone looks great.
We are also a little low on time to go back through all the comments, but if you said hello or hi to us, hi, we saw, we noticed, even though we didn't have time to put everything on the screen. Thank you to the people who complimented the Mara Jade costume, and thank you to everybody for commenting and popping in to say hi, greetings, hello.
We missed two of our viewers' submissions. Miss Jen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then doing, of course,
Jen looks so good.
her Carol Danvers. I love that one. And then
Yes.
Bunny Malkavian, I believe is how it's said. She said when she was working at a store, she did all of these little closet cosplays of these characters while working. So I was like, that's cool. That's a fun way to turn cosplay into also your work attire.
The Pokeball is the cutest one. Like,
oh yes,
so cute.
It's like
Thank
it's
you for
closet
touching that
cosplay and
hair.
Gajinka all at the same time. So
I tried to do a closet cosplay Electrode one time because I had red shorts and obviously I have a white tank top and I have a black belt. I was like, literally all I have to do is put some vinyl angry eyes on the shirt.
Oh no.
It made sense. It was right over my boobs. Both my friend who was staying with me and my husband were just like, it doesn't look like you're doing a cosplay. It just looks like your boobs are angry at me. I was like, can't wear this anymore.
not anymore.
So,
well, Crayle, it's time for you to answer the big question. So, what advice would you give to a cosplayer who's just starting out?
I have two pieces of advice here. So, to a cosplayer who's just starting out, take advantage of like the resources you've got. Cosplayers are pretty friendly. You can reach out to anybody from this channel, and if we don't know, we know somebody who does know. Like you're not alone. This is a huge hobby. There are tons of us. So get help. You're not by yourself. But I also want to give a piece of advice for intermediate and long-term cosplayers. There's this plateau where when you first start out, you're getting good really fast. like better. The more you practice, the better you get. And then sometimes you feel like you plateau off a little bit because now that you know so many basics, anything new that you start to try, you don't see this insane jump from costume to costume of your skills growing. And for some people, that's really disheartening. You don't realize that you're just on a very natural part of that curve. It seems like you're just not being very creative anymore. If you feel like you've hit a plateau, I actually think that's the perfect time to go back to your closet cosplays, go back to some of your old stuff and update it. Like, do something easy. If you're doing stuff that's been hard, that you're working really hard on all the time, and you're not getting that wow factor for all the hours that you put in, then don't do that to yourself. Absolutely step back. And I do think it's important for people to say, yeah, but you put all of these other hours in on these previous costumes where you learned those skills and you are improving. It's just harder to see now. That's important to notice, but we're doing this to have fun. You shouldn't have to like mentally lecture yourself into enjoying what you did. Give yourself a break if you feel like you're on a skill level plateau. And 10 years, I've been doing this 10 years, and over half of those closet cosplays you saw from the last 3 or 4 years, because I hit a little bit of a rut in 2021. I had a bunch more time in 2020 and got better at some stuff, and then hit the plateau again and was just like, you know what? I'm here to have fun. So just because you've been cosplaying for a long time doesn't mean you have to slave over every single thing and prove that you're super skilled. Have fun.
Perfect. All right, Andrea, where can people find you?
It's usually mostly on Instagram, Media Rice. That's where I post most things. I sometimes remember to update my Facebook, and I started one of the Kara accounts for artists that wanted to get away from the meta stuff, but I haven't used it much yet. So, but I do like that there's a place to get away from the AI.
Me too. We need to check that out eventually.
Yeah.
We have a new website. It's phoenixsistersentertainment.com. So that's a good place to start looking for us. Otherwise, we're Phoenix Sis Entertainment on most social medias. Good place to look for us. Otherwise, thank you all for tuning in. Please
And
enjoy our... Yeah, thanks for sticking around. Please enjoy our network exit video, which just gives you a highlight of the other awesome shows on our network. And hopefully we'll see you next episode.
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi's